All right, welcome back to another episode of the Supply Chaney podcast. We've got a special guest on today, Jenny, who is, to me, a marketing expert in the supply chain space. And I don't know if we've had
Only you
that
need to.
many, huh?
I said only to you.
Yes,
Marketing
it's
expert
it's a
only to
low it's a low bar to meet. Anyone who knows how to spell marketing pretty much has defeated me in terms of marketing expertise. And I think maybe one of the first folks on the podcast, because we're only at like 40 episodes or so right now. Maybe one of the first people that is a marketing person in the space.
Oh,
What I'm trying to do is cover like all the full gamut of all the supply
the
chain
whole
pieces. So
spectrum. Yeah.
yeah. So excited to unpack the concepts of marketing and things with you. Without further ado, I'll hand over the digital mic to you real quick. Can you
Okay.
introduce yourself? And for those who don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jennie Malafarina, and I am CEO of Virago Marketing. And we are a marketing agency that solely serves the trucking and logistics space. Everybody from the team is from the space, so it's what we know. It makes us really effective and proactive, and really good at what we do. I guess
Awesome. And
another thing I'll add on is freight movement. So I have Freight Movement, which is another company I share with Nate Johnson. And what we do is local geographic industry events, which in terms of marketing, it's about meeting your prospects where they're at. So, going to their backyard, popping up a party, doing it under the umbrella of something like Freight Movement takes that sales pressure off, and it's inviting for the whole industry. So when you invite everybody to the table, there's value for everybody. And that's why I think it's successful.
awesome. All right. And where are you calling in from today, caller?
The basement hole. No, I'm actually not in the basement. I am in a dark room in my house in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio. All right, excellent. I just like to have, I've got a map up here on the wall, and I like to just geographically know where the people are that I'm
Yeah,
talking with. I don't know. I
very
just
cool.
for
Did you get all
context.
50 states yet?
No, but I had my first guest this morning that was calling in from London, and so
Oh,
that was
nice.
kind of fun.
Now you got to get
Um,
a bigger map. You got to get an international map.
I do. I do. I have all the pins and all in the countries, I've been to and whatnot. So no,
Very
totally
cool.
global map. Um, so tell us a little bit more about you growing up. Where were you born and raised, and like what kind of kid were you, and kind of how did we get to
What
this
kind of kid
conversation here
was
today?
What kind of kid was I? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. This is
were
a
you the
loaded
studious
question, Nate.
bookworm or the troublemaker? I think I've got a theory, but I'm interested to hear from your perspective.
No, and you know what? I don't think it's either of those. So I
Okay.
was actually born in Steubenville, Ohio, which is down by Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but on the Ohio side,
Hmm.
right on the border of West Virginia. Um, then my family moved up to Parma, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. So I think I moved there in about kindergarten, and then we finally got, I guess, our American dream house in Maple Heights, Ohio. And I say that in the sense of the when I was born, and how I kind of grew up was different than today.
Hmm.
Like, as
Yeah.
in, like, I was born into like Section 8 and welfare and things like that, and so I mean, I had my Cabbage Patch Kid. I had my
Uh-huh.
toys. I didn't go
Yeah.
without, but I also didn't have like a big house or anything like that. So my
Yeah.
family did relocate to give their kids like a better upbringing with
Sure.
more opportunities, closer to the city. So I really appreciate that. And so I grew up in Maple Heights, Ohio, and then I went to a private Catholic high school. And it was not because of religion or excelling. It was
Hmm.
because my mom thought I was going to get beat up in
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
school because of my mouth. So thanks, mom.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I wasn't a troublemaker. I was actually considered the mom of the group, so I didn't hang
Okay.
out with kids that were making the best decisions. But we were young and fun.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was considered the mom. I would say I had like the AB average. My brother was the bookworm
Uh-huh.
who, he almost didn't graduate high school because of missing so much school. but
Uh-huh.
he was also straight A's and almost valedictorian.
Yeah.
So I always had like this, like,
Yeah.
what? I gotta bust my butt to get my B's, and my
Yeah.
brother
Yep.
would just like walk in the door and get an A. So
Yeah. I think
I
we
don't,
all had that kid in our class growing up. Yeah.
yeah, but it was my brother.
Yeah.
He was always there. He was always the one to compete with in terms of grades and stuff. But I had a really good upbringing. I can appreciate everything that my mom and my parents have done for me and helped me get to where I am today. Um, which is, I live about 30 minutes from my mom now. I hope one day my kids realize what it takes to. Not, I don't have like some huge extravagant house, but it was not a house that I had when I was a kid. So I'm really
Right.
hoping that my kids grow up and appreciate and work hard, to get like a nice house and don't think that that's just status quo. Because I really
Yeah.
appreciate the fact that I didn't come from very much and I've built what I have.
Sure.
Um, so,
There's
yeah.
that sort of adage about tough times make strong men, and
Yeah.
strong men make easy times, and easy times make weak men.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's always. I think that those of us that are in the professional world and doing okay, I think it's that struggle of we want our kids to kind of have to work a little bit and kind of have a semblance of the kind of raising that we did, so that they kind of just learn what it's like to go out and have to hunt and
Well, it
and
kind
you
of
know
blows my mind today when there's some parents that are like, oh yeah, my kid doesn't have any time to work. They're like focusing on school, and like I get that, but
mhm,
like I also think a work ethic is important. Like if they're not working, that means you have to give them everything. Like you're giving them a car, you're paying for their insurance, you're paying for their phone, and like
mhm,
if they don't know what the true value of that is, they can't appreciate it and know
yeah,
that they have to work hard for it. They think it's just innate. Like, oh, I just get that. I exist and it's mine.
yeah, yep. It's
Now
a
I
it's a
need to
fine
know,
line.
Nate, you need to rewind because you said you have an idea what kind of child I was, and I want to go back and what was that?
Well, you're fine and you organize things. So, like, now that you're talking about being the sort of like the corraller, the motherly sort of function in the group, that kind of makes sense given that you're a builder of things and an assembler of people. And so that it actually, I think it fits really well. I was leaning more toward the troublemaking fun
I
thing,
am
but
not the
um,
troublemaker. Never
so
was.
how did you take that transition from high school and Catholic school and whatnot into university and college? Like, what was your decision making sort of scheme like, and or did you just kind of pick something and I'll do that in
How much time do we have?
30 minutes?
All right, then I am just going to spill it as fast as I can to get it out there.
All right.
Um, all right, so I went to a private Catholic high school. My parents were like, "Oh, you should go to college, but we're not paying for college. We're not co-signing for college." And that was really weird for me because I had went to a college prep high school. So
Oh,
all my
right. Hmm.
friends were going off to colleges, and they're like, nope, we're still paying for high school. You can go to the community college.
Hmm.
So then I ended up living at home and going to Cleveland State University, which is not a community college. It was just a commuter option for me.
Uh-huh.
So I did that. And then I was like, oh, I want to study abroad in Australia. And lo and behold, they're like, sure, we'll co-sign for that. I'm like, oh, all
Okay.
right. So they co-signed for that, and I moved to Australia for it was like 6 to 8 months that I lived there.
Uh-huh.
And when I came back, everything was just like the same. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody had moved on and went to universities. And when I came back and I had this exciting time in Australia where I went skydiving and scuba diving and like lived in this country not knowing one person for 6 to 8 months, I came back and I was like, mm. So then came back and I think I did another semester of school before I joined the military. So I joined the National Guard and I went down to Fort Jackson for basic. Then I went to Fort Gordon for AIT. While in AIT, one of those statistical meeting your spouse people. So I
Mm-hmm.
met a guy and we got married very quickly. And he went to airborne training school, and I went back home to Ohio. And then he got stationed at Fort Bragg. And so I moved down to North Carolina, and I was doing uh, outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I think it's Salisbury. I was doing my training for the National Guard, so I was going there. Um, I got pregnant. I was 3 months pregnant. He deployed for 15 months. He came back, and I always said he never came back,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the shell of him came back,
Yeah.
but he did not come back. And that was a huge struggle.
Yeah.
So during this time, I was doing my education. I had a baby. I was dealing with that situation, working whatever job I could. Right. I think I was at Old Navy, um, and then he got out of the military, and he was from Arkansas. So I was like, we should move to Arkansas. It would be really good for you to be around your family.
Yeah.
So we moved to Arkansas, and by this time I already had two kids. We were living in this little town called McGehee. I had to drive 45 minutes to go to a Walmart. Mind you, I just told you my parents moved us to Cleveland for more opportunities.
Yeah.
This little McGehee, your childcare options were when you find out you're pregnant, you register at the church. Literally, it has like a year wait
Yeah.
list to get in there, or you go to the lady on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking my kids to the lady on the highway because there were no other
Wow.
options. Um, my husband at the time was working at a correctional facility, which was probably not a good idea for him. And I was working at a bank. And the guy, my boss came in and he said, $9 an hour for a woman is good. And I think I just lost it like that day. I went home and I packed everything up, between the turmoil with my spouse. I was pregnant with my third child. This guy's telling me $9 an hour is good for me. And I was just like, I can't take it anymore. And I packed up and I moved home, and I moved in with my mom. Um, my husband at the time moved up as well, and we stayed with my mom. And I finished my bachelor's. And I remember when I first started college, I was taking 12 credit hours because they're like, that's the minimum to be full time. And I was like, okay, I'll do the bare minimum, right? But when I was doing my final semester of my bachelor's, I was doing 24 credit hours. So I had a double course load. I was
Jeez.
pregnant on in the middle of the semester or quarter, whatever it was. I had my daughter on a Friday. I was back to school on Monday, and I got straight A's that quarter or semester, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated magna cum laude. It was just, I mean, a tremendous
Wow.
change from starting college out of high school to going back to college after the military, and kind of getting an idea of how the world was going to treat me without an education.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was huge. So where does that leave us? um
Well, it looks like
oh,
you loved school enough that you stayed in for another round, I guess, with a master's.
yeah, so I'm like, I've got three kids, I need to support these kids, right? So I
Uh-huh.
go to my teacher and I'm like, hey, can I get a letter of recommendation for like a career portfolio? I gotta go out there and like get a job now. And they're like, how about a TA? How about like going for your master's? And I was like, I'm sorry, did you hear me? I don't have money and I need a job. And they were like, oh, no, it's free and we pay you. Oh, okay. So they recommended me for the program, and I got that program, and I got my master's. And my
Wow.
mother was my rock because she 100% helped me raise my kids for those 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
3 years, finishing my education. So, yep, I stayed in and did some more. Yeah.
And it seems like it's in communications and whatnot. I think you studied. So you're in that group of folks that studied and got degrees in something that's applicable to what you do today, I suppose. I hope.
I'd say kind of. I felt like there was a little more psychology in the communications, like understanding why people do the things they do. which is applicable to marketing, but I wish I would have got a degree in marketing. Now, like, looking back.
Okay. Okay. Well, walk us through a little bit of that career path. Like what was that first, after Cleveland State, after that TAs for a job, like what kind of roles and things did you do up until today?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay. So when I was doing my bachelor's, no, okay. I think I got a internship like my last year of my bachelor's. And then so that carried me into my master's. And I think I did like another internship. It seemed like as soon as I was dedicated to my master's, it started opening doors. Like that's
Hmm.
when the internship opportunities came in. So I was with a PR agency and love the people, but there was a time where he was like, I'm going to send a press release and I'm going to get 14 leads. And I was like, what? What? Um, and so
Wait, I'm not a marketing person. Is that a lot or is that a little?
Well, actually, the two don't make sense. You're not going to
Okay.
send a press release and get 14 leads. Like, you're not
Okay.
going to
Okay.
be able to track that back. And so that was where I had this internal struggle. If I send a press release, how can I attribute 14 leads to this press release?
Uh-huh.
Because it will go out in the news stations, right? And it creates awareness and it
Yeah.
can generate leads. But I can't say, if I'm doing other tactics, that if I send this press release, I can get 14 leads. It just, the press release was more about brand awareness.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I have this like math analytical kind
Yeah.
of brain where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
make this make sense. So then I switched gears and went over to a digital marketing agency. And I was there for only 10 months when TMW Systems did a headhunt on me. And they asked me to come in, and they were like, well, we've got insurance. And if you know the agency world doesn't have insurance, not necessarily. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, okay, I will go listen to this. Um, and it was a really great opportunity. And it had the insurance so I could, take care of my kids, like the medical insurance and 401k, which was the first time I'd have that in my life. Mind you, this was 2016. It's not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I went to TMW Systems. I was there for about 3.5 years. I was there for the merge with 10-4 and PeopleNet, becoming Trimble Transportation. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to Transportation Insight, and that company is located in North Carolina. So
Yep.
I was flying down for 1 week a month every month, which was just a lot with three
Yeah.
kids.
With kids. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a lot. So I'm like, I think I got to get something closer to home. So I went to Banyan Technology. And so I left Transportation Insight in the heat of COVID, and I was at Banyan in the heat of COVID. When my previous partner of Virago was like, hey, join me in Virago. And I was like, I'm risk aversive and
Mm-hmm.
I like security and stability, and
Yeah.
agencies really don't offer that. Um, but at the time, I felt like I was being like micromanaged. Did not. I don't do well with that. I don't like to micromanage. I don't like to be micromanaged. I don't think anybody likes that. But I was like, you know what? Let's give it a whirl. So joined her in Virago, and then 8 months later, she was like, I'm out, and I'm like, I bought it, and I've been running it since. So
Awesome. And the steps that you've made along the way, like at Trimble and Banyan and whatnot, and TI, those all seem foundational for what you're doing now, or like
Oh,
is there
100%.
is there a
Yeah.
correlation there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all in the industry. It was all in marketing. And to be honest, when I was at Trimble, we rebranded and launched new websites. And we put in new marketing tech infrastructure. And then I did the same thing at Transportation Insight. Then I did the same thing at Banyan. And that's when I was like, maybe I'm just on to being like a marketing flipper. Like you just come
Uh-huh.
in and you're like, this is what's not working. You need new infrastructure, you need new process, you need the right people. You figure out all these components. And it's like you put together this baby. This was my problem because I got attached to the baby. I want to watch the baby grow and flourish and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But I learned that I really loved like flipping the
Mm-hmm.
marketing because like
Interesting.
Yeah. And so that was another thing that kind of edged me more towards the agency, was like I really had a knack for it. Like I really liked it. And then not only that, once you're in this industry, you stay in this industry. Like, I don't know many people that leave this industry. Maybe, and if you have, you'll probably be back.
Hmm.
I think because of the continuity and like what you know, and knowing the competitive landscape and knowing the shows and knowing the publications and knowing the people and building the relationships. It's a
Yep.
very strong relationship industry, and I think I posted something the other day. I'm like, going to shows is like going to hang out with my friends now. It's not
Yeah, I
like
saw that.
it's like, oh, I get to go see my friends. Yeah, let's go.
Yep. Yeah, it's like going to summer camp, but for adults. So I see a little stop here that you made at the University of Akron.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. So, gosh, I can't remember how I even got in the door. But they were like, "Hey, will you be an adjunct professor for writing for advertising?" And I was like, "Yes." So it was an online class, and the curriculum was already created. But I'll tell
Okay.
you, that's when I was really like fared with like the next generation, because it was, I don't know, people would be like, "Oh, I can't do my homework today. I have work," and I'm just thinking like, all right, so let me
Shoot.
tell you,
Yeah.
when I
Right.
was doing
Yeah.
my bachelor's and I had three kids,
Hmm.
and I had a baby and I went back to school, like it really like not like cold hearted, but I was just like, if I could do that,
Hmm.
you surely can do your homework.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right? So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working with the kids and seeing what they came up with in terms of their copy, and like grading it and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I did apply for like they asked me to like apply for a full time position. I was like, that's kind of cool. But then I learned how much a teacher made, and I was like, oh, like,
Yeah.
that's a huge cut. It's
Hmm.
kind of sad how much of a cut that is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's got to be maybe like a lifestyle choice, and you kind of need to have the right kind of finances at home, I guess, to make it all work in it, and be
Yeah,
maybe pursuing the passion and the fulfillment that you get through it, not as much just the paycheck
the
at the end of the
revenue,
day. You know.
yeah, the money.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it would be hard to be hard to live on that. I don't have that set up.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a really cool company that I got to hang out at their 25-year anniversary the other day. It's called Optum, and
Oh
the
yeah,
owner CEO of that was like a professor
oh yeah.
of optimization and network optimization and analytics and stuff. And like
Mhm.
turns out he kind of did that whole you're an expert in something. Like he would, like the first problem he solved was like how to optimize all the train and locomotive scheduling for the Canadian National or CSX, and
Oh,
like from a mathematical perspective, right? And so and then from that kind of just went toward like I can use my brain power to solve problems and optimize operations and things that have network optimization problems. And then like
yeah,
25 years later, it's big old company solving really really massive problems for really big companies. But
that's
it
awesome.
was but he was first a professor, and like literally when he was talking he was all like, oh yeah, these are the three these are the three textbooks that I'm an author of as well
Oh,
in network optimization, right? Like so it's like literally wrote the book on this stuff. And then some of the first people that came up and said, oh yeah, we were we are Optum was a solutions provider for us, were his students, like that he taught network optimization. Then they went to companies, were like the chief data scientists, and then hired him later on to go be that consultant that go
oh, that's awesome.
help fix their problems. And it was just like, yeah, that's crazy. Like one day, the professors and stuff that I have and that you have, maybe someone sitting across the table from us as a client or as a solutions provider
Yeah, no, that's
all at
awesome.
once.
I when you're in school like that, you have a big research and learn mentality to like kind of take in some different stuff. So like my thesis was literally on it was an eye tracking study on the ability to recall like the Facebook ads and the evolution of news, and
Uh huh.
how now you could find it on social channels versus reading the newspaper. But where the news goes, where the media goes, the advertising follows, right?
Hmm.
So if you're scrolling through your news feed, are you seeing the ads whether they're sponsored. It was sponsored or something else. I can't even remember. But so the way they're targeting based on whether people you are connected with like them or
Mhm.
whether they think you meet their target market, right? Are you catching it? Do you and can you recall it? And I think that was so fascinating. But that was like, gosh, that was back in 2014 that I did that. So over 10 years ago. I can't even keep
Mhm.
track of time. Um, but yeah, you do like a lot of research and you have like this like learning research mindset back then
Mhm.
that I think is like so important to take that and then bring it into the industry and actually put it into production like the
Mhm.
CEO of Optum did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about like what you do, like what does Virago do? What kind of customers do you have? What kind of tasks and services do you provide?
Yeah. So we started solely working with like freight tech providers, but there's actually a lot more 3PLs popping up that want help. Like, it's a saturated market. How do I stand out? How do I get my
Yeah.
messaging when you offer the same thing as 1,000 other companies, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we really help them with their go-to-market strategy, and that can be anything from their branding and awareness to driving engagement and having a unique, fresh website that has a good experience and clearly communicates your value and your differentiators. And then taking that even a step further is like, okay, how do you go to market with your campaigns and your target market? And do you know your ICPs? Do you have your buyer personas? Are you communicating to them? Do you speak to their pain points? Are you driving them back to your website? Are they finding answers? Are you getting inbound leads from it? How are you driving awareness? Are you going on podcasts? Are you in the media? Like all these different things you got to get out there
Hmm.
and then bring that back into, your website, your marketing automation platform, and then, move your prospects through the funnel. So how are you engaging them at different stages of their journey to make sure that you're always top of mind when it is time for them to make a decision? Always providing value, I think, is like the biggest thing. Like, don't just talk about yourself, talk about how you're helping others, help them understand how you can solve their pain points. Not just like, oh, we're so cool and we got a new product update and now we can do this, but like, why did you develop that product update? Who is using it and how are they seeing the benefits of it? So I really think it has a lot to do with, helping them frame their messaging and really speak to their key audiences.
And can you do that in a consultative sort of manner of like a one-off project for a X number of months to kind of like come in, clean up shop, hand off a new website and back out, and then also like and then do like a retainer to like be their marketing department or something like that, like kind of.
Yeah, so we have two ways you can partner with us, and one is the a la carte. So if you're like, I need key messaging, I need a website, I need my ICPs, we can
Mhm.
just develop those on like a one-off project. But then if you're like, well, we want to run campaigns and we want to continually do press releases and media outreach, or we want to have sales sequences and sales collateral. So what we do is we offer subscriptions and they're 6 month subscriptions and you could be like, we want content and social and sales support. So you might sign up for those three subscriptions and
Mhm.
then we provide support in those three areas. And we really flex with our clients. Like, I was just talking to Whitney on my team about this right before this call. I was like, I think we got to get a little scrappier for startups because the subscriptions are great. Like, oh, you get content, and we have clients that just want content, whether we do the art for it or they handle the art. We just really flex to what their needs are.
Yeah.
But then we have clients who are like startups, and they're like, we're just trying to get a seat at the table. We're not, running with a $10,000 a month budget. We're
Yeah.
like, how do we get scrappy? How do we get grassroots, get our name out there, build our brand, get people talking about us? That's not going to cost us a fortune. So, really we're really focused on, building partnerships that are going to be the best for our partner because we can flex that way. We're small and nimble that way.
Yeah.
So, and that's I think that's one of our differentiators. We know the industry and we're nimble.
And almost maybe a little bit like what a lot of the e-commerce fulfillment 3PLs are doing, which is try to, provide service to that one pallet customer while they're really, really small and grow with them and try to
Yeah.
hang on for the ride if that opportunity is there. And
Yeah.
I suppose
So
that
we
kind of works for you guys as well.
Yeah, so we usually have like, I don't know, I'd say 2 to 3 regular starting points that start with those one off projects. And so my favorite place to start is the strategic revenue roadmap. And that really helps us build a plan, get all the leadership on the same page. Because oftentimes sales is like, I'm focused on this. CEOs like, we need to do this. Finance is like, we need to do this. But it's
Yeah.
like, okay, guys, we're not marching in the same direction. And if we're not, we're not going to get we're not going to get where we want to go. So we need to define where we want to go and then understand how everybody is going to contribute to getting there, right? So what is the business trying to accomplish? What is sales trying to accomplish? Now what does marketing need to accomplish to help the business and sales achieve their goals? So that we come in as more of a supportive role and say, all right, we're going to these shows, we need to get X amount of leads, we're going to run this campaign. We need to get X amount of engagement. We want to get them in a pipeline, hand them off to sales when the time is right, when they raise their hand, right? Like it really depends on who the client is and what they're trying to accomplish, what those marketing tactics are going to be. It's not a copy and paste. It's really not.
Let's take a second to chat about what it's been like to build something and to own from A to Z the business itself.
Yeah.
Has everything been just rainbows and daisies the whole time, and everything was just
No.
magical, or have you any words of advice or wisdom for other folks, other entrepreneurs out there?
Um, I don't remember any rainbows and unicorns. I think what drives me is that I love what I do. I've always loved and been passionate about marketing. So the the fact that like my day is different every day and I have different challenges from a marketing standpoint and it brings in technology and it brings in people and it brings in new ideas really excites me and gets me out of bed, and I think that's what continues to drive me. I also love community. So, freight movement, supply chaining, do you call it, supply chaining at night?
Supply Chain Social Club.
Supply chain social club. Sorry, I don't know why I was saying at night. At night, after dark. No,
We
but
do
like,
have we do have the Warehousing After Dark,
okay, it
which is
is
a
warehousing after
series.
that. I
I know
knew
it's
there was something at night.
complex. I'm sorry, I have so many names of things. But yeah, I should be more simple.
No, no, it's good. But just anything that's like building community and connecting people, bringing people together. Um I love that because that's what's going to help us solve these real problems. And I think if you think of your go to market strategy, it needs to have community part of it. Like I talked to Ava Barnes the other day, VP of community and brand at Alvis TMS, and like her role is committed, like focused on community because it's just so important to be part of the ecosystem, especially for us. Bolting on to TMS's different technology, that's what's going to make it innovative. Having different partners to do different things, being part of the ecosystem, like I just think that's so important. If you leverage like co-marketing opportunities, now you can get in front of your partners customers and their target market, and there's so much credibility with somebody else talking about you versus you talking about yourself. So yeah, and I think there's just so much power in meeting people in person. And when we started Freight Movement and we saw people come out to these events, it was like, oh, thank God, we're in person. Like, oh, people like they crave that human connection, and even if it is virtual, like it's just nice. Like I do that myself. I reach out to people all the time. I'm like, hey, do you got time for a 15-minute coffee chat? They're like, just want to meet you. Like, I'm not trying to accomplish anything besides learn who you are and what you do and make a new friend. And I do that a lot, and I'm okay with that.
Yep,
Like, I'm okay
yep.
with that.
I a lot.
So,
We're
yeah,
in the same book. Yeah,
yeah, you do the same. Like,
yeah.
it's kind of like if you build it, they will come. So it's like build the opportunity to get people together and meet. And there's just so much value in that. Like it's not even for necessarily for me; it's for everyone, and I love that too. So like, when you come to a freight movement event or supply chain social club, there's people there that's not like my prospects. It's just people. Sure,
Yep.
my prospects might be there, but I don't even go in with that mindset. I just go to connect with people.
Yep. Yep. And I think the cool thing is that you never know that conversation, the 15-minute coffee chat you have today may reap really big rewards 6 months or a year later,
Yeah.
not planned, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
I know someone who can solve this problem, or you've got that connection point.
Well, that's the whole point is like, what do they say? Like 88% of people aren't in their buyer's journey. So when they are, you want them to know who you are. So I
Yep.
mean, you
That
got to make
sounds
those
like a smart marketing type person would say something like that. Hey, so a couple of like standard questions that I try to ask everyone so we can
yeah.
extract a couple of nuggets of tangible wisdom from folks is do you have a favorite book, or maybe a book that you're reading right now that you would recommend to folks, and or favorite quote?
Yeah, and I'm looking for the name of this book so that I say it right.
Uh-huh.
It is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Okay. Yep. Yep.
I actually, that was a surprisingly good read. Have you read that book?
No, but I've heard mention of it.
I mean, it is just, I think it's a very, like, it's got some historical references in it. So
Uh-huh.
you're like, who does this apply to? But then you read it and you're like, I never knew that was that situation or that scenario and how that, played out. Um, so it was just a surprisingly, and I loved it because it was really raw and real. Like,
Hmm.
yes, they use swear words. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I use swear words. I'm
Hmm.
trying not to right now because I don't want you to have to edit me the whole show. But it's just very real and raw when you talk like that and it just flows. So that's my book. What were your other questions?
Quote.
Oh,
A quote you live by.
the quote I live by is work hard, play hard. It's just my mentality, and I know it's not like a big, long, extravagant quote or anything like
Hmm.
that, but I feel like you do the work, but then you reap the rewards, and like you take that time off and you celebrate that, and you rest, recharge, and then you work hard again. And so I'm very cyclical in that way. Like, I have to have my downtime. I will give you all I have. And it's really funny because I was in this scenario once where somebody was like, you do really good work. If I paid you more, would you do better work? And I was like, I don't think I can. Like, I give my all,
Yeah,
right? Like, you
yeah.
can't pay me to do a better job. But what I do need is my vacation. I need my
Uh-huh.
vacation. So work hard, play hard. Did you have a third question or no?
No, that was the easy,
Okay,
like quick, just trying to introduce that. The other one that I typically will ask, and maybe we'll go for it anyway, just for fun,
do it.
is for those kind of sort of business school students that are out there, that maybe they're a communications major or marketing or logistics or something like that, and they're listening to this episode and they're like, "Oh, I want to be like Jenny when I grow up. I want to have a marketing agency in the logistics space." Any words of wisdom or advice for them to maybe get to where you are today, without having to go through everything you had to go through to get here, or get there a little bit
Yeah.
faster or easier?
Um, I personally feel like the words find another way came to mind when you said that
Hmm.
because you might, go to somebody and like, hey, I'd love to work here. I want a job here. And they might close the door in your face and say no. Right. And that can be very disheartening. And then you might just stop and like, okay, I'm going to go sell insurance. And if you want to sell insurance, cool. That's cool. But if that's not what you want, find another way. Like keep pushing and find another way. So, I think like a good kind of story for this is just like right now I'm on an entrepreneur road. I don't know where this came from. It
Yep.
is not me. But right now I'm talking to different tech providers to develop some technology and like this is a good opportunity, this is a good opportunity, this is not like and you got to keep like just inching your way and find another way. Like find out what you can, have all the conversations. Have all the conversations. You never know what's going to come from a conversation. So I had an idea and I was talking to a potential tech provider, and they were giving me a quote. I was asking for a quote, and then they came back to me and they're like, we want to talk to you. And I was like, your quote's too high. Like, I'm good, right? But then they're like, Jenny, can we please jump on a phone call? I was like, yeah, what's going on? They're like, we want to be your tech provider. We want to build this for you. And we want to be like your tech partner in this so that you don't have this tech debt. I'm like, what? So find another way, have all the conversations, like don't just give up.
That's the
Don't
first
just
time I've heard the term tech debt. That's fun. Okay. That's my word of the
You've
day.
never heard of tech debt?
No. Is it like being house poor?
Well, it's kind of like when you build something, it costs money to develop that technology, right?
Right.
And until you accumulate the revenue to pay it back, you've got tech debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Just the
hey,
fixed
you know
cost of,
another fun
yeah.
word?
What's that?
Pilferage.
Okay.
So when I was at BCS last week, I went to a really good session on like fraud, and they were talking about how there were like hot spots in the United States where they were coming in and they would pilferage the truck. They literally take the doors off the truck,
Yeah.
and they'd take like two pallets, and it
Hmm.
would be like what they were really targeting were things of food and beverage, like
Yep.
something that they could like quick sell off. And I'm like,
Mentos and Listerine.
sure. But the pilferage was like the number one cargo theft way. I'm like, oh, they're like stealing full truckloads? No, they're just going in and taking a couple pallets. But when it's food and beverage and it has a seal on it, the whole truck is spoiled. I don't know. I
Mm.
just thought it was very interesting. And I
Yeah.
haven't heard the
Hey.
word pilferage in a long time.
Yeah. Hey, it's coming back in
We're
vogue.
back. It's coming
Um,
back.
Well, hey Jenny, thanks for hopping on today and sharing a little bit of your experience and your expertise. Looking forward to seeing you at an event soon, at a freight movement event or a supply chain social club or something in
Yes,
person or who knows what. But we will definitely be around. So thanks for
absolutely.
jumping on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Jenny as much as I did. A few main takeaways for me are her story about her upbringing, which wasn't the most comfortable, and I think that resonates with a lot of folks. And I think that it's probably what influenced her to have a sense of grit and determination as she's gone through her career. So much so that her favorite quote is "Find another way." Which I think is just so symbolic of what that personality, what that character is like, where you have a goal in mind and you just persevere until you accomplish that. So also, I think that she exemplified what I think are maybe one or two or three different types of entrepreneurs out in the world. And the one I think that she kind of characterizes is the it just came about naturally kind of entrepreneur. There's entrepreneurs that I think that write a business plan, have an idea, go out and execute, and they're from day one they knew exactly what the business was going to be, what problem it was going to solve, and kind of intentional right about it. And I think that Jenny is a little bit of that. Right time, right place, right amount of experience, right network. And so it just felt like the natural next progression of the career to take that step into entrepreneurship. And then lastly, I appreciated the insights and understanding of the role of marketing in logistics and transportation companies, and how if you've got a company that's maybe in the tech space in logistics, or a transportation company, or a 3PL, that you don't necessarily need to have a in-house marketing expert, that you can leverage and lean on agencies or consultants to bring that expertise in, help you to set things up, get things going, or just stay on like fractionally or as a retainer, to help provide that expertise. And also there was a shout out there to the network effect, and how just like a supply chain requires multiple companies and organizations to hand off goods and things from one to the other to get products from the field and into homes and businesses where they ultimately are consumed and used. The supply chain industry, the people in that ecosystem operate similarly, where it requires all kinds of different experts and solutions providers to make the supply chain work, and a lot of that is all based on relationships. So bringing people together for that is really important. So it's really cool that she has, she's kind of done this work of building up this freight movement organization to help bring people together in kind of a cool, relaxed way to build just relationships. And without really a super sales, I'm going to close this person on the other side of me, on the other side of the table type of mentality. So thanks for tuning in. And until the next episode, be safe and have fun out there.